Now that we know what business analytics is, how do we use it to make decisions? There are three subcategories of business analytics, and these are the three ways we use data and models to help make decisions in business. Remember that a model is an abstraction or representation of a real system, idea, or object. So the three subcategories are descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is what's been happening. So if we go outside and collect the temperature, humidity, and percent sunlight for 3 months, we can then use this to tell us what the average temperature was, what the average humidity was, and what the average percent sunlight is. And again, it's simply telling us what's been happening based on past results. Predictive analytics is going to tell us what is likely to happen. So again, with our weather example, based on those 3 months of data, it's possible that you will now be able to predict the temperature for tomorrow. Obviously, it won't be 100% accurate, but it'll be more accurate than if you just guessed based off what you think is going to happen. And prescriptive analytics can tell us how we can influence what will happen. So if you own an ice cream store, you can use your weather data to give you direction on how many staff you're likely to need for the upcoming week. So again, descriptive analytics at its most basic level describes your data. We're going to dive into an example involving the Hickey Dining Hall and how these three areas will be in play. So say we were running the Hickey and we were asked to give an overview of how things have been going. So to do that, we had a team member go in and measure the percentage of students that are eating the different offerings. And they came back and told us that the percentage of students who would like to have liver and onion for dinner is 2%. And 95% of students eat ice cream 3 or more times per week when it's available. 80% of students eat dinner between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. The most popular baked dessert is brownies. 65% of students take a brownie when they're served, and the least popular baked dessert is bread pudding, when 5% of students take some when it's served. Now, you can see how much more information we have here than if you simply had a spreadsheet of how many kids were taking things day to day. Now, that spreadsheet does have its own value, but as a manager, you often won't have time to dive into it. So analytics like this are going to give you a much better idea of how things are going. Predictive analytics is what is likely to happen. It predicts the future. So going back to the Hickey Dining Hall, we can use predictive analytics to give us a better idea of what is going to happen in the future if we continue with the options we have. So if we serve liver and onions as the main dish, few students will choose that as their main course for dinner. Student satisfaction with the Hickey may decline if we stop serving ice cream. Food lines will likely be longer between 5 and 7 p.m. We can estimate the number of brownies we need to make for Wednesday night based on the expected number of students who typically eat at the Hickey on a Wednesday. And we can estimate the amount of bread pudding we need to make for Wednesday night based on the expected number of students who typically eat at the Hickey on a Wednesday night. So based on that data collection and our descriptive analytics, we could now build a model to help us run the Hickey in a more efficient manner. And this would prevent us from making way too much bread pudding when we know that only 5% of students will eat it. Now, prescriptive analytics will tell us how we can influence what will happen. It tells us what to do. So at the Hickey, prescriptive analytics can tell us that to maximize overall student satisfaction with the main dinner choice, we should probably stop serving liver and onions. We should keep offering ice cream at all meals, and that we should add extra staff between 5 and 7 p.m. to reduce wait times in food lines. And finally, we should continue to offer brownies, but possibly drop bread pudding from the dessert menu rotation. So, based on our data collection at the beginning, we can now have a model that tells us what to do. And this is incredibly powerful because instead of relying on someone's intuition, we now actually have data to back up our recommendations. So in these last two videos, we have defined business analytics and broken down the definition to get a better idea of what it really means. We've defined descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics, and we have a general idea of what all of these are. We'll be touching more on each of these three in Business Analytics 1, but Business Analytics 2 really goes deeper into predictive and prescriptive analytics. And finally, here are just a few extra examples. For descriptive analytics, we're describing the data. So things like 75% of people like ice cream. Predictive analytics is predicting what is likely to happen. So data shows that as the temperature rises, ice cream sales increase. Prescriptive analytics is based on the data. We've created a model to tell us what to do. So if the temperatures are going to be higher than average this weekend, we should stock more ice cream than usual. Now, this is the end of the video, but before next class, pause and take a moment to think about the following. Make sure that you really truly understand the three types of analytics and work through this idea. So if you were in charge of staffing a Starbucks on the first floor of a giant office building in Chicago, how would you use these three types of analytics? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday.